Hey, Matt Boggs here, and today I want to tell you a horrible first date story because it really exemplifies the number one principle, I believe, when it comes to dating. And I hope that you take this with you because it will serve you in your dating experience, your dating life and process, is this. It is really hard to screw up the right thing. Let me say that again. It's hard to screw up the right thing. So many women come to me in my coaching programs when they're just starting out, and I can see that they're walking on eggshells and they're afraid of making mistakes and they're judging themselves and they're second guessing themselves. And the main thing that that's doing is just making the experience horrible and making it tense and tight. And maybe you've experienced this where you're like, feel like you're in knots with all these rules and you don't know what to do. Well, let me ease that for you and just say, look, as you're yourself and as you're relaxed, it's hard to screw up the right thing. And this story is a perfect example of that. The story actually comes from The Tonight Show, and Jay Leno goes down into the crowd and he says, all right, we're taking horrible first date stories. Who's got a great first date story? So this woman raised her hand, took the mic, and proceeded to tell this story. She met this guy. They both lived in Salt Lake City, Utah, so they planned this date to go day skiing for the afternoon. No overnight skiing, they just met each other. She's a good girl. So they go up, they have a great time skiing, having fun. On their way down, it's the late afternoon, it's winter, so the sun is setting and it's getting dark, and they're on their long drive back and it's snowing heavy, so it's slow going. And she thinks to herself, man, I should not have had that last latte because she's got to go to the bathroom bad and they're in the middle of nowhere. So she kind of tells him, and he's like, well, just try to hold it the best you can. And she's like, all right. And so they're going, and it's snowing, and snowing is getting heavier and heavier. So they're going super slow. And it finally gets to the point like where she says, look, you have got to pull over because you don't want any accidents in your car. So he pulls to the side of the road, and she goes around the back and drops her pants and starts doing her thing. And he's kind of keeping an eye out for cars and being a good gentleman. He's not peeking. And the snow is really deep and slippery, so she kind of balances herself back up against the back bumper of the car. And when she does her business and she finishes, she realizes that her butt is frozen to the metal of the bumper of this car. And images of like tongues stuck to poles, frozen poles, go through her mind, and she's like, oh my God. And then the humor of the whole situation, here she is, her pants down with a guy she just met, butt stuck to the bumper of this car. And so she's like, help please. And so he comes around and she's got her sweater over her lap and, pants around the ankles, and he's seeing this and he can't help it. And she kind of smiles and he's like, I'm stuck. And he sees it and they both just start laughing like, oh my gosh, this is hilarious. And then, so they finish laughing, they realize, okay, this is a serious scenario. Like, how are we going to get her butt off of that bumper of the car? And they realize that the only way to get it off, and he knew this because of his scouting days, was to pour hot liquid over the bumper of the car, and that would free her. Just one problem. They didn't have any hot liquid handy, like no coffee or any like hot tea handy in the car. The only hot liquid that would be available would have to be his urine. So he goes, he pees in a cup, right? Comes back, pours the urine over her butt, over the bumper of the car, frees her, and she promptly pulls her pants up, gets herself together, and they get back in the car and end up making it safely home to their destination. And as Jay Leno, everybody in the crowd is just roaring with laughter, like, oh my God, like I thought my date was bad. Like this first date tops that. She won the prize. She got the little first date trophy. And Jay Leno said, well, what happened with the date? Like what happened with the guy? And she was like, well, we ended up getting married and this is my husband. And he was sitting right next to her. And I love this story because it really does exemplify it is hard to screw up the right thing. Right? So if you're feeling like you're walking on eggshells, release that. If you make a mistake, it's going to be okay. If he makes a mistake, go easy on him because when you have a true connection, it is hard to destroy that because the right guy will help find a way to make sure that everything turns out okay. I hope that this video serves you. As always, there's links below this video to other resources that will help you expand the love in your life. If you have a bad first date story or a horrible date experience, I want to hear it. Post a comment below so we can share these funny bad date stories. I would love to read your story. And as always, make sure you're subscribed to this channel so you can get the latest and greatest videos. Here's to expanding the love in your life. Thanks so much for watching. I'll talk to you soon.